If you were to tell me at the beginning of the year that we would see a WWE PLE that had a main event of a guy who was in AEW and a guy who is currently in TNA, and we would have seen TNA's X Division champion win his match against a contracted WWE guy, I would have said that you've been spending too much time with RVD. After having a really successful show at Bash in Berlin, NXT stepped up to the plate and knocked a grand slam out of the park, gone forever. NXT No Mercy last night was simply fantastic. Every match was incredibly well done. Every match was fast paced and it had a lot of twists and turns, and it was just a fun show to watch. And with NXT soon to be on CW, this was kind of like a big step forward for NXT as a brand. If anybody had any doubts about this partnership between WWE and TNA, WWE and NXT put them to rest last night. Because we saw something last night that we thought was never going to ever be even possible to even think about when it comes to WWE in the past. A TNA contracted guy got the win over a WWE superstar on a WWE PLE. Obviously, I'm talking about the X Division. Obviously, I'm talking about the TNA X Division champion Zachary Wentz defeating Wes Lee in a match that was simply fantastic. The story going into it was really good, and the match delivered in every way possible. It was fast, high energy, no quitting, no dull moments. It was simply fantastic. Again, this is something that we thought was never ever going to happen under Vince McMahon. This deal has truly opened the door for so much more business to be done between different wrestling promotions. We live in a time where a lot of people, including myself, think that we're in the greatest era of professional wrestling because there is so many to choose from. You have WWE, AEW, TNA, and you have a ton of really great indie promotions that you can see making its rounds on social media. So I think that this partnership has done wonders for both WWE and TNA and has truly shaped the face of pro wrestling as we know it, and I think it's for the better. NXT No Mercy also had its fair share of surprises. We saw a fantastic match between Chase University and Fraxium, which ultimately broke my heart at the very end when Ridge Holland decided to turn on Chase University, which I think we all kind of knew was going to happen, but still, I just love Chase U so much, and it really hurt seeing Ridge Holland turn on. Chase U is by far one of my favorite things going on in WWE right now. I love just how wacky their segments are on NXT, and they all can perform in the ring. How in the hell can Andre Chase wrestle in a sweater like that? It makes zero sense to me how he can do that and still put up an amazing match. And when you have guys like Nathan Frazier and Axiom who are also just incredible in the ring, you have the recipe for a match of the year contender. I would argue that it's could be in that same category. But the Ridge Holland heel turn just simply broke my heart. And again, I think we all knew that it was going to happen eventually, but I really thought that they were going to keep playing that storyline up a little bit more, but it made perfect sense to do it at No Mercy. So while it did break my heart, it did come as a surprise for me and a lot of other WWE fans. We got a much anticipated debut of Julia last night, as it looks like she's going to be going up against Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship, and while we had a feeling that it's been one of the 4 rumored superstars to be coming into NXT, it ended up being Julia, and again, I think it was perfect how they did it. Her coming down to the ring and her having the stare down with Roxanne Perez, that feud I can already tell is going to be fantastic, and I'm really excited to see how that unfolds. And let's not forget that we have others waiting in the weeds for their opportunity to debut in NXT. And then that took us to the main event, a main event that we thought would never ever happen. A guy who started the year in AEW and a guy who is currently contracted in TNA. Obviously, we're talking about Ethan Page and Joe Hendry. Obviously, we all know Joe Hendry by now. Joe Hendry is one of the most popular superstars in pro wrestling right now, and him being on NXT has made him even larger. And let's not forget, Ethan Page started the year out in AEW. He was not under WWE contract. He didn't join until May. Joe Hendry didn't join till June. And the fact that one of them is holding the NXT title right now and the other is under contract with a different promotion, it still just blows my mind that this match even happens. You throw Trick Williams into the mix and you have the makings for an all-time classic. The match was fantastic. We had Pete Dunne come in and attack Trick Williams once again, so they're building towards their match still. Unfortunately, I think we all kind of knew that when Zachary Wentz won, we all kind of knew that Joe Hendry was not going to win. But at least we can say that this match exists, and we could see more of them in the future. So while this isn't necessarily a recap video like I do for all the WWE PLEs, this was more of a video of me commending NXT and WWE and TNA for that matter for putting on a really, really good PLE. Between Bash in Berlin and now what we saw with NXT No Mercy, it was a monster weekend for WWE. And I truly think that this was the PLE that is going to bring back NXT to what it was in the NXT Black and Gold days. We talked about it in a video a while back, but we basically went over how the WWE draft pillaged a lot of NXT's main talent. Them losing the likes of Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, Lyra Valkyria, and amongst others really did put a number on NXT as a brand. But the TNA partnership has rejuvenated NXT, and it's worked for both NXT and TNA. If you want to go back and watch that video, I do highly suggest, if you have not watched that video, I do suggest giving it a watch because I think that it is worth mentioning again that the partnership between TNA and NXT WWE has simply just worked on every level imaginable. It's worked. So this is me more kind of giving NXT, WWE, TNA their flowers because I really think that NXT No Mercy is going to be the launching point of NXT getting bigger as a brand in the future. WWE and pro wrestling as a whole is in a fantastic place, and in terms of WWE being where it is right now, we have two degenerates to thank. So that's going to do it for this video here. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. As always, down below in the description is our Linktree link. There you can find all of our social medias. I highly suggest going and checking out our X page. Over on X, we do updates on every Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and all of the PLEs. And overall, I want that to be a place for pro wrestling fans who don't have a lot of people to talk to about pro wrestling. I want that to be a place for them. I want them to go and talk about wrestling with wrestling fans. I know what it's like to have nobody around you enjoy pro wrestling, so I really want that to be a place for people like myself. So if that does apply to you, maybe consider swinging by Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown and join in on the conversation. But again, that is going to do it for this video here. I do hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos coming in the future. We'll see you next time.